So this was opening night of this production, which and Orson Welles had an enormous reputation in New York because he had directed several. I think he had been the voice of the Shadow on CBS Radio, and it was very popular. And he directed this. Then he directed this sensational Halloween radio show of the War of the Worlds, and it was so realistic. It scared this whole state of New Jersey. They were all fleeing from these imaginary invaders from Mars, and he got into a lot of trouble because of that. He created such a big scandal, and he became very famous as a result. And so he directed this production. He did a couple of other things. He did a production of Macbeth with an all-Negro cast, and it was located, instead of Scotland, he set it in Haiti in the period of Toussaint Louverture, and that was sensational. I saw that too. Anyway, this was after I had been in New York. Was I? No, I wasn't in New York. I had been in the Federal Theater Project in Chicago and Peoria, but and then when the Federal Theater Project went out of existence, I think that was in 1936, 37. I went back to Chicago and rejoined the Chicago Repertory Group. Anyhow, Blitzstein told us this story that the order reached the theater in the afternoon of the opening night, and they didn't make an announcement until it was ready for the curtain to go up, and the audience was already assembled, and in the lobby of the Maxine Elliott Theater, and the government order wouldn't let them into the theater, but the police were afraid that there would be a riot, so they closed the doors of the theater and wouldn't let them out. So the audience was trapped in the lobby of the theater, and Orson Welles got up on the marble staircase above the lobby, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, the government has closed the show. It's not going to take place here tonight." He said, "But we have secured the use of the Al Jolson Theater up on Columbus Circle, and I'm going up there to see what will happen. And of course, if you want to come, you're invited." And so he led this procession up Broadway from 39th Street up to 59th Street, 20 blocks on Broadway, and with the crowd behind him growing all the time. And they got into the theater, and the Maxine Elliott Theater is a small theater, holds about 700. And when they got to the Al Jolson, which holds about 5,000 people, it was full.
Whoa.
And they didn't know what was going to happen. There was no preparation for this performance, and they had rented a piano, and they talked to the musicians union, and the musicians said, "If the piano is in a pit, you have to have a full orchestra." But if the piano is not in the orchestra pit, if it's on stage, then it's a concert performance, and you don't have to have anybody except the soloist. So that was it. There was a bare stage with a piano, an upright, beat-up old upright piano. And Mark Blitzstein, who could perform the whole score all by himself, walked out on the stage, and he sat down, and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to perform my opera, Cradle Will Rock." And he sat down at the piano and began to play the opening, and he was prepared to sing. He didn't know who was in the theater because the stage was empty. And on cue, the actor was in the audience. He stood up and began to sing. And the first scene takes place on the street with this guy picking up a streetwalker. And she was sitting in the box. And he began to sing. And when her cue came, she stood up and she answered him. And he was sitting in the 8th row, and she was up in a box seat, and they carried on this conversation. And that's the way the whole show was performed. Wow. And everybody in the cast was there, plus a few members of the orchestra who joined in on the finale.
Wow.
Amazing.
And it became a big hit, and they performed it with the actors sitting in the actors sitting in a semicircle on the stage with no scenery, and when a moment to perform came, they would step up to the front of the stage and perform. And it was a big hit.
Wow.
And Orson Welles, at that point, I think Orson Welles resigned from the Federal Theater Project and formed his own company, which was called the Mercury Theater. And they did a number of productions. They did Shoemaker's Holiday, and I think they did Faust of Marlowe. And they also did Danton's Death, which is a play by a German playwright who died when he was 23 years old. His name is it slipped my mind. Well, if I remember it, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
And it's a play, again, based on a historical fact about the French Revolution. Anyhow, that's all I've got to say on that subject.
Thank you for the story, Grandpa.